Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another round, another season of the Virtual Drift Championship. My name is Craig. With me, as always, is Tanner. What's going on, dude?
What is happening, Craig? We're back for 2023, and man, I'm excited. I've been waiting for this all of last year since we ended the 22 season there, and I'm so happy to be back and alongside my favorite co-commentator.
Absolutely, Tanner. It's been a little bit longer break than usual, and we're coming back with just a little bit shorter season. This time around being 6 rounds rather than 8, which I believe will make each round that more important to do well and try and win that championship. We've got a couple of other changes this season as well. Typically, drivers, of course, they use our provided data for the physics and the tires of the cars, but they've always been able to make little adjustments in that data for themselves. Where now it's changed a little bit. Drivers are going to have to rely more on their tunes because those data sets are now pretty much locked. A couple of changes they can make here and there. Some weight bias. They can choose what weight they want to run, and of course have to use that tire size to go along with that weight per rulebook. They get to pick the transmission that they'd like to use. So there's a couple of different gear sets out there. And then everybody's locked to the same final drives, which is a handful of them. I believe it's 48 different rear ends they get to choose from, just picked right off the winner's chart there. But again, drivers going to have to rely more on those tunes this season.
Yeah, and with the shorter season too, they're gonna have to bring everything every single round. And they're gonna have to make sure they're here for every single round, because you miss one round with this small season, that's a lot of points that you could be giving up to somebody, especially for these guys who are up in the title fight.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll take a look right at today's line map. We're here at Silverstone. If you haven't seen already, there, clip 1 on the right hand side of the screen with your only really small decel on initiation. Judges want those drivers to reach out and fill all of outside zone 1, clip 1, and then take a midline through the track down there for your first and only inside clip of the course. Clip 2, back out to clip 3, and there's where drivers are running about 85-90 miles an hour going through clip 3 sideways, and then into clip 4, your biggest outside zone of the course. Judges want to see just maybe a little bit on the rumble strip, but not riding the rumble strip all the way around there in clip 4, and then continue on into clip 5, a nice midline through there. It'll be up to the drivers to draw their own line there. I want to say it's blind, but we've put almost like a safety wall there so that you do have a visual reference coming into clip 5, that outside zone, and then drivers will drive out of that zone. But in that area in between clip 5 and clip 6, before the transition there, drivers are going to be naturally losing speed through there, but they need to be staying on throttle, so we left that section green. And then your last transition into clip 6, and a nice little wall ride to finish the course, but a super fast, super flowy course here today. And it does look like we have our first driver coming up to the line already. And that is going to be Mark Pretty to start things out for us. Our very first qualifying run, and a little bit of a change there with the light, even though it did have a little hiccup, but that's all right. It's qualifying. Here goes Mark throwing that car in, and you see there he does leave that first outside zone early, ends up a little bit on the left-hand side of the track, but continuing on nicely here. Filling that next outside zone. Smooth transition across. Into that one very well here, staying off that grass and on the course, filling the last outside zone. And there it is, first run down of the season, Mark Pretty.
Yeah, Mark Pretty starting things out pretty strong and coming in with a 90 for his very first run. So setting the bar high for these drivers, as we have Eric Kasurkis now at the line in that beautiful BMW of his. Waiting for the wonderful lights to go to start our second run here of qualifying. And the lights ignite and off he goes. Erica's going to get through that gate clean and get on the throttle, smoking the tires already as he sends it into that first outside zone, filling it nicely, getting a good transition into that inside clip, but dropping tires into that next outer zone as he's coming around. Clip 4 right now to make that transition into that outer zone, next outer zone, holding it at the angle nicely though as he comes into that final wall ride and drags that rear bumper all the way across. So other than the tire drop, not a bad run there from Ericus.
Yeah, holy moly. Erica's coming out swinging there, and his car looking better than ever this season. We'll wait on those judges to post those scores. And look at there, 92.7 for Erica's first run of the season. We're on to Ethan. It's all new Nissan Z. And looking good through initiation here. Smooth through that first inside clip. And picking up that nice zone. It does make a small little waver, really pouring on the angle. He'll continue on another smooth transition, getting into that zone. Flames everywhere out the hood, and there he is finishing his first run.
Almost like a dragon around that track, full of flames coming out of that hood. Walking in the score, an 85.7 there for Ethan. So Ethan's might have to set that up, but we'll see how the rest of the day goes. We have the first Miata. It's nice to see the Miatas back in the Virtual Drift Championship of Daryl Diaz. And here we go with Daryl's. He initiates it in that beautiful Miata. Nice snap to angle as he gets through that outside zone, really getting for that inside clip and holding a nice angle through the next outer zone as he's coming through clip 4, right along the track edge. The little Miata that could as he pushes out to the next outer zone, 1 transition to go. And here he goes right along that rear wall, or putting the rear bumper right on that wall and finishing out the run there for Daryl.
Yeah, Daryl looking good. He took a season off. He earned his license back in with Tsujigiri. Didn't compete the next season. There he is with an 88.3. He's back again now for what we'll consider his rookie season and looking good. And here's Artem Makashenko leaving the start gate. Entering that super end strong. A little bit on the left-hand side of the track, but picks up that inside clip, fills the next outside zone. He is flying through this course right now in this Supra. Nice smooth transition, a little bit on the right-hand side of the track, but gets that next outside zone. Really close to the track edge. There he is, finishing out his first qualifying run here at Silverstone Circuit.
Yeah, very nice run there from Artem. At first, I thought that really wide Supra wasn't going to make it through the gate. That thing is a wide Supra. We got the final scores coming in for him and a 91.7. Wow, Group 1 already in the high 90s, or in the low 90s here, and the high 80s. We got Russell Jones in that brand new GR86. Russell ready to bring on the heat. Initiating in, nice smooth initiation. To that inside clip, but taking it out, going a little too deep in, not able to extend all the way to fill that zone completely as he comes through the next outer zone with another transition here. He's going to try and push it out, stay right along that track edge, which he does beautifully. Last transition on the wall ride, a little deeper there, but makes it work as he passes the finish line.
Yeah, it seemed like he just didn't quite have the speed there. After his run up and on initiation, you see him leave that first outside zone and then drive down really soon and end up on the left-hand side of the course. And while he's making that first transition, which is something the judges have asked drivers not to do. And here we go with Ahmed Al-Harbi. And really throwing that car in, does drop just about a half a tire, but he fills that first zone, grabs the next inside clip, fills the next zone, and he's flying through the course here. Good transition, keeps up the pace. Little adjustment there through that outside zone, last and final transition, and along that track edge all the way through that last outside zone.
Ahmed was just flying through that course. Like that was full throttle, the highest gear, and
Yeah.
just keep it pinned. We wait for Ahmed's score to come in here with a 91.3. Ahmed getting right up there as we got Vladislav in his M2 BMW. Ready to see if he can hang out with these boys in the 90 Club. Group 1, like I said, coming out very strong here. Vladislav initiates in, nice angle to that first outside zone, gets that inside clip as he pushes all the way out to the track edge, getting this next outer clip, keeping it along, keeping the speed up. Good transitions, gotta keep it stable through this next outer zone, and he does, keeps it nice and clean. Transitions nicely, putting that bumper into the wall, and comes off just a little bit, but makes sure he finishes out the run strong.
Yeah, he certainly did. A strong run as we see these big scores come in. 95. Talking with the judges, just making slight adjustments here as we take a look at Masashi Yoshida in his first qualifying run. Entering in nicely. And that V8 just screaming out of that GTR, a little bit different from Masashi. He did the same thing last season, but a little bit different car, and it's looking really good. Different motor as well. Again, locked to that VDC data. There he goes across that finish line. But continuing on with that small changes with what the judges are doing. So the judges are always very, very picky about the runs. But instead of making bigger, say a 3-point deduction, it might just be a 1-point deduction. They feel these drivers are the best there are, and the scores should reflect that.
Definitely so. As we had that there with a 91 as we have Austin Zaleski making his way through the course. You can see him getting that outer zone, riding that track edge the whole way around. He's carrying a lot of speed in this Supra. Manages to keep it under control though for the final transition right there as he does make it, but he gets around clean. And that'll round out the first set of runs for Group 1 as we move back up to the top for the second set.
Yeah, absolutely. It'll be tough to know whether that lag is going to affect that score. Really tough to judge there. It looked like an 85.7 for him. And now that those first drivers are out of the way, we get our qualifying box there, our current top 8. And here's Mark Pretty with his second run, currently sitting on a 90 and in 6th place out of the first 8 we have here today, and looking good through the first section here, filling that next outside zone. Into outside zone 3, just cooking here. Good smooth transition, holds the angle really nicely there through that zone. That's some final transition there, filling that zone all the way out to the edge, and finishes it off.
Yeah, Mark Pretty really laying it down once again. Was a little late there on that inside clip, but 90 again. So a 90-90 for both his runs. That'll be great if there are any tiebreakers to happen, as we're back around to Eric Kazirkas in that BMW, sitting on to 91. Let's see if he can improve it coming into that first outside zone and making the transition beautifully for that inside clip. Outside zone 2, outside zone 3, a little on that rumble strip. That might be a small deduction as he transitions for outside zone 4. Keeps the wheels nice and locked in as he makes that final transition and keeps it right against the wall to the finish. That's the Ericus we know. Good to see him out, and we'll see what that score comes in as.
Yeah, I think it's going to be strong. And there it is, 93.7 for Erica. So better in that score just by a point there. And as as far as that rumble strip, it's so drivers are okay to drop, maybe one tire on it as they enter in it, or through the middle of it. But it's really the duration through the outside zone that they'll really be looking at. If they stay on that rumble strip, especially 2 tires the whole way around there, they're considering just a little bit too deep, and they'd rather, see that driver on the edge, in between that track edge and that rumble strip. There's Ethan. We like to always call Pikachu.
The fire-breathing dragon.
Finishing his second run. And that looked good there. Might better that 85.7.
And he matches it
Yeah,
with
he
another
sure did.
85.7. So Ethan locking in that score of the day with that 85.7 as we have Daryl Diaz here sitting on that 88.3 in the first Miata of the day. And let's see what his Miata can do on that second run to improve that score. Good angle coming out of that first outside zone and making it work into the second. As we see him transition into outside zone 3, holding on to that rumble strip a bit, maybe right on the track edge there as he comes into outside zone 4. One last transition to go for his final run of qualifying. Daryl Diaz pulls it through, really making some work in that Miata.
Yeah, looking good, making it work. 88.3 his first run. And a 92.3 from Daryl Diaz for run 2. His first event here in the Virtual Drift Championship. Again, after taking a year off as well. Here we go with Artem's second run. Back in his Supra. And maybe not as good an entry there on run 2, but looking good through the next set of clips and zones. Really nice there through outside zone 3, but transitions maybe a little bit early on the right-hand side of the track, but he gets the next zone pretty well. Going that next zone, there it is. Good run from Artem.
Yeah, Artem kind of sounded like he shut it down there right on the in that decel zone where he's supposed to, and got back on throttle immediately, but the score does reflect a 91.3 over his 91.7 on the first run there. So now we're gonna move over to Russell Jones. Russell Jones sitting on that 84.7, and if you guys have been around the Virtual Drift Championship, that's a score you want to improve. As last year, I think we barely even saw top 32s in the 84s. So let's see what Russell can do. Not as quite deep at the beginning of that outer zone there, but made it work near the end as he comes into outer zone 4. One last outer zone here for Russell Jones at 86 and holding a decent line. So we'll hope that he improves on that 84.
And he does by another point, 85.7 for Russell Jones. But as you brought up just a second ago, that's going to be a tough score to really hold on to and make it into the top 32. Here we go with Ahmed Al-Harbi, 91.3 for run 1. And really nice initiation, filling that first outside zone. And just doing all the right things here. A little bit deep there through outside zone 3. Nice transition, and then, oh man, dropping a tire. I feel like I jinxed him. He'll continue on, finish his run out, but some deductions coming there for that second run.
Oh, well, we all know the commentator's curse is real, and sometimes it happens. We don't mean it personally, but it is what it is. An 85.3 there for Ahmed's second run. So sitting on that high score of 91.3. That'll be it for him as we move on to Vladislav. For his second run, 95. Vladislav sitting on as he throws that BMW in right to angle off the get. Beautiful angle through that inside clip and holds it all the way through outer zone 2 and really making work here of outer zone 3. Beautiful transitions. They're super smooth as he's just planted that gas pedal and really keeping the speed up here on that final transition. Nice along the wall and on that yellow line. Let's see if he improves on that 95.
He just might there, and teammate with Tikhon Pileski this season, and a 92 for run 2. So a good tiebreaker if he ever needs it. If somebody else gets a 95 as well, and we move on to Musashi. V8 just screaming out of that GTR. Nice transition, picks up that inside clip. Super deep into outside zone 2. Looking good through 3. A little bit on the right-hand side of the track. Has to make that small little adjustment there. A little bit left. A couple of little line deductions maybe coming there from that run. But regardless, still, it's going to be a strong score, I believe.
Yeah, Musashi definitely coming in still with a strong score. Not as high as his first one, 89.3. And as you saw, there are a couple tire drops and few things at the line there, but we come to our last run of Group 1. Lots of groups coming at you today, so Austin Zaleski sitting on that 85.7, and maybe something he wants to improve, gets into that inside clip and pushes out to outer zone 2, really trying to go as fast as he can around this track. He is flying for our final run here of Group 1, putting it right to the track edge there of outer zone 4, making that transition work with outer zone 5, rolling nicely along that yellow line. We'll see if he improves on that 85.
Austin Zalewski. I enjoyed that run a lot. 89.7. He was flying through that course, but really pouring on the angle. The transitions were snappy. Just a little bit off in between that outside zone 3 and 4. A little bit to the right there, and maybe a little bit tentative on that last and final transition, but nonetheless, 89.7 on the board for him. And that's going to do it for the first group of the first round of the 7th season of the Virtual Drift Championship. So we'll take a small break, load in the next group of qualifiers, and we'll be right back with some more qualifying. We are back for our next group of qualifiers and an exciting group coming up. But the first group coming out swinging, Vladislav with a 95 up in first place out of that first 8. Erikas Yurkis 93.7, and Daryl Diaz coming back after a year off, doing his work rookie season now, 92.3 in that top 3. We've got Caleb up at the line in his Mustang, New Edge Mustang, and this thing is insane. Looks so good. Go check him out on socials. He's got a whole breakdown of how the car was made in game. A lot of 3D scanning going on, and just a beautiful car here in Assetto Corsa. I forgot it was 2J powered this thing, and he's throwing it in. Looking good on a very nice line there. Picks up that inside clip, filling that outside zone 2 and into 3 here. Really nice in this Mustang. Very comfortable. He's competed before in the Mustang, but it was live action rear. This is IRS now. Again, looking solid there from Caleb.
Yeah, Caleb Dauphiné really coming out swinging. Love the new Mustang too. It looks so great. 90.7. And this is going to be one crazy season if the scores stay like this. 7 groups coming at you today, and we're only on group 2. Christian Petrov at the line as he gets out of the gate nice and clean and starts accelerating and getting into angle. There he goes nicely into that first outer zone. Transitions for the inside clip, pushes out to that outer zone 2. He's looking good so far. Right on that rumble strip the whole way around, though, so that might be a deduction coming his way as he makes up for it there with clip 4. One last transition to go. Really kind of slowed down there, though, for that transition, but holds it through. So Christian Petrov's first run.
Yeah, not bad from Christian, but I do think, that fitment in the rear should be a deduction by itself.
Well, his score says otherwise.
It does. All jokes, Christian. 91.3 for him. And here we go. Ernestas. His first run of the season. Look at that entry. All the angle there on that transition. It has to pull it out. He'll continue on here. Use that rumble strip. Much smooth transition for him. Hanging on to that angle there through that zone. Right up along that wall to finish out his first run.
Yeah, Nestus there really flicking that S14 at every opportunity that he got. Seemed like everywhere he went, it was just a big flick, big flick. So maybe something to work on his second run. 83.3 for Nestus. We have Kazuki Fukushi. And this year, in an Evo 10. Sad to see the Celica go. It was a great car, but let's see what he can do in this beautiful Evo 10. Look at that thing. This is my first time getting to see it. We see it initiate in. Looking good so far through that first outer zone. Good transition to that inside clip. Holds it nice and out to that outer zone 2. Little bobble there coming through outer zone 3 as he makes that transition down into 4, but holds a good angle through 4. And one last transition to go into outer zone 5 and pulls it through. Looking good there, Kazuki.
Yeah, as always. And the Evo, I mean, looking good. I agree, though. That Toyota was awesome. And he, seemed to do pretty well in it. But, again, looking good in the Evo. And here's Nick Hang at the line, ready to go. There you see those new lights from our semaphore there. And a big swing in. And he's going to over-rotate, go way left. Transition super early and blast the inside clip. And just way offline here. Getting back into it there through that outside zone. And there he is. Looking good through the rest of it here. Last and final transition. Stays off the wall. Looking nice there through the back half, but really got out of shape there through that first section of the course.
Yeah, Nick Hang really trying to just hang in there with that first section, but makes it up in the second, but only coming in with the 71s. That is a score he will have to improve. But here we go with last year's virtual drift champion, Tikhon Pileski, the robot, the man, the myth, the legend. Let's see his first qualifying run. Beautiful initiation, transitioning right to angle through that inside clip, and already looking dialed in on this circuit as we see him just riding the edge there on outer zone 3, coming into outer zone 4. Maybe a slight waver there from that front end, but a beautiful transition into clip 5, and the robot is here for another round.
Yeah, Tikhon beat Boot Pileski, looking good once again. But yeah, as you pointed out, I mean, look at there, a 93.7, but a little bit of a angle correction there in that outside zone 4. Just not something usual we see from Tikhon, but here's Andreas throwing his S15 in. This is the public 3.0 car. this awesome livery done by, of course, Andreas here. It's looking good in the car itself. This first run of the season for him. That's the final transition. There he is, Andreas Lene.
Andreas really getting at it. He looks really comfortable on this circuit too, and that's great to see from him. We know he's a great driver, and it's great to see, what I'm seeing of these scores coming in. And 91.7, he's got to be happy with that score. But still another qualifying run to come as we have Abdulrahman El Shwetwi. Sorry, I know I'm still working on your name, my friend. In that beautiful RX-8, transitioning in, looking good. A lot of RX-8s this year too, as we see him getting through that inside clip, pulling out to the outer zone 2, and really just mashing that rotary through outer zone 3. Shetvi really getting at it there in outer zone 4, looking good. Right into the wall for that final outer zone, and Abdulrahman just making it work.
Yeah, looking good. And if the car looks a little familiar, it should. That was Stephen Hatcher's RX-8 that he previously used, and is now being used by Al Shetwi, and he's looking comfortable in it.
Yeah, what a run that was.
94.3 up on the board for Al Shetwi, and that'll put him in second place after about almost Group 2 is done here as we move on to Peter. His 370Z. Good through first outside zone. Nice snappy transition. Just flying through the course here in the outside zone. A little bit of an angle adjustment there as he leaves that zone. Teeny tiny one there. That's a final transition. Looking good along that wall, up onto that track edge, and finishing his first run.
A piece of there looking really clean and solid in that Z33, and a 90.3 for the first run. Man, these scores coming in today, these drivers are bringing everything for the first round. I hope they bring it for all the nether 5 rounds that are still to come. Maxime Tingai, great to see you back, and good angle through that outer zone, through that inside clip, holding it nicely through outer zone 2. Maxime really on a charge here as we see him come through outer zone 3 and into 4, and really just kind of holding that angle, putting it right to the edge there. I thought he was going to drop a tire, but he doesn't, and he puts it onto that wall for the final zone and makes that run stick. Wow. I'm kind of like, shocked. Yeah. That was a great run.
Maxime looking good. And a 90 up on the board. And we're back around to Caleb, coming off a 90.7. That 2J power Mustang. For the first section here, would have been a little deeper in outside zone 1. He picks up inside one. And speed is up through that zone. Little transition once again. Little correction there through that zone to stay in it. Looking good once again from Caleb. Super comfortable in that Mustang.
Yeah, Caleb Dauphinet's scores quickly come in with that 89.7. So not as good as that first run, but still a great tiebreaker score, as I feel like that's what it's going to come down to today. Christian Petrov coming out strong with that 91.3. Let's see if he improves or even matches. And he's looking good so far, better than his first run already through these first 3 clips. So he comes into outer zone 3 here, really just laying it down. Christian Petrov looking really solid here. No wavering at all in those front tires, as he's got one last transition to go. Maybe a little bit of lag there. Maybe that was my end. Not sure if that came through on stream, but Christian going strong. I know he's having some connection problems as well. So good to see a nice shout out from him.
Yeah, 88.3. And you're right. He did previously say something in Discord earlier that he was having some connection issues, so I hope he gets it sorted. Here's Ernestas for his second run, coming off the 83.3 after that big over rotation there, but cleans it up on this run too. Really smooth through outside 3, but he does go a little bit deep there, dropping the tire into that portion of the track just over that rubble strip, really onto the edge there in that outside zone, and on the wall, finishing out run 2.
Yeah, Ernestus for his first time out, you know, still kind of figuring out the car, it looks like, but improves on that second run with an 88.3. So now we're back around to Kazuki Fukushi. Kazuki at the line in that Evo 10, new car for him. 89.3 for Kazuki, initiates in the Evo 10, looking good, nice angle through that outer zone 1, gets the transition done for outer zone 2, making it work through outer zone 3 as well, and holding a good angle in line through outer zone 4, transitioning into 4 now, there we go, and now into 5 for that wall run. Kazuki just making the run look smooth, a very smooth run from Kazuki.
Yeah, locked in. And a 92 up on the board. That'll put him in 6th place. After that, say almost, you know, Osbo-esque. You know, just really dialed. Not a ton of angle, but did everything he needed to. And here's Nick Hang for his second run, coming off of 71. Really needs to better that score. Looking good so far here through round 2. I don't want to say too much. That commentator's curse. See, comes into outside zone 4, looking good, fills the zone, last and final transition, stays off that wall, and finishes it out.
Yeah, way better run there from Nick Hang. This time hanging on to that score and getting it way bumped up to an 88.3. So that'll be a little bit better to hopefully make it into the top 32 today. And back around to the robot himself, 93.7 is T-Con Pleski sitting on. So those lights ignite, and off he goes. T-Con ready to send it on this next run. He's always one to send it, dropping a little bit of tire, just kicking up that dirt as he transitions into that inside clip, and wow, flying through the course, already into outer zone 3 and transitioning for outer zone 4, holding lots of angle right to the track edge. Look at that as he comes into outer zone 5 and just really finishing up that run. Wow, was that quick?
Yeah, zooming through the course there was T-Con Pleski. And he dropped a little bit of tire on that initiation, but talking with the judges, it's almost, look at there, a 97 from T-Con. So leaving outside zone 1 is being looked at as almost worse than dropping like half a tire on initiation and filling that zone. As long as you can stay on that, you know, that correct line there, and you're not dropping too much tire. You're dropping 2 tires, you're gonna get the big deduction for it. But if it's just a little smidgen, a little puff of dirt there, and you continue on with the good momentum and right line, it's not gonna be a massive deduction there. As Andreas bounces off that wall before he finishes out his second run of the day.
You know, that run was looking really good for Andreas, so I hope that doesn't affect his score too much, that little wall tap there. Andreas getting that 92 on my other sheet. That score really was, but 92 there. There might be a point after it. Can't see it at the moment, but Abdulrahman El-Shetwi sitting on that 94.3. Let's see if he can improve it with this RX-8. Coming in strong here in the RX-8, putting those tires on that rumble strip. We'll see, roading it out a little bit, putting it right to the track edge. Little waver there in the front wheels as he comes into that final outer zone. Wow, these guys are really just planting their foot and going for it.
Yeah, absolutely. And the course really kind of asks for that. Once you enter in and you put your foot down, it's, you know, kind of that way for the rest of the course. A 92 up onto the board there. We're on to Peter. Just, again, super fast, super flowy course. It looks, I don't want to say easy out front, but it really isn't the hardest, most challenging thing to at least get through the course and fill some zones, but to really nail it and get the line right, fill all the zones to the maximum, very little waivers, as you see here from Peter on this really strong run here in this 370Z. He's finishing it out. But yeah, wait till we get to the battles later on today after qualifying. It's a tough one in the chase as cars are just flying through the course.
And yeah, oh, definitely. As 93.7 comes in for Peter's second runs, getting 3 extra points there on top of his 90.3, as we have Maxime sitting on that 90, initiating in that beautiful S chassis of his, right out to the track edge, transitioning around, really just going for it here. I mean, it's your last run. You want to lay it all out on the line. You're already sitting on a nice high score. Let's see what Maxime can do here. One last transition to go, and the final of Group 2 here, laying out a very solid run.
Very well put together run there from Maxime. Once again, I don't know what he did over the offseason, but he did it right. Look at there, a 94.7 on the board for Maxime. That puts him into third place after 2 groups are now down. We'll load in that next group of drivers. And luckily, they are still on the server. Or at least their cars are on the server, so they can just join into the server now, and we can wait on them.
Yeah, a little bit of change up from how we've done it in the past. And I know we loaded Group 1 to Group 2, but yeah, all the groups up to Group 3 was on the server already. So the quick transition over to get these guys
just
couple
to,
practice.
Our new sponsors a shout out for sure. Sim Magic joining the family here, and we can't be more happy about it. We let drivers get a little bit of practice in if this is your first time watching. Our qualifying rules here, drivers are given 2 non-consecutive judged laps to qualify. Highest score counts. So the typical qualifying rules there, tiebreakers are determined by the lower qualifying score, and each qualifying run is judged on line, angle, and impact. So impact being a little bit different than what I guess we're typically see in other championships, where style will be that criteria. And here they are, line the ideal path a vehicle must take on course that is marked by inner clipping points and outer clipping zones. Following that line map that the judges put out for those drivers, angle is the slip angle of the car throughout a given run and how well that driver controls it. So not only the amount of angle, but how well they can maintain that angle through the course or through a given outside zone. And then impact, that different one down there, impact is almost like style, but a lot smaller in our criteria as well. It's really considered only 10 points of that score, and it's really that that extra little oomph, that extra X factor in that score. And then each judge will score the entire run with a maximum of 100 points. So no line judge, angle judge, impact judge, they're all judging the run all together, and then that gets put into an average score. And we've got Mr. Alan Hines at the line, ready to go, coming back from Oman just a few days ago, so only really 2 days of practice. There he is, off the line, fires that S15 in there. A snappy transition to continue on through the course here. A little bit of a waiver there in that outside zone 3. Transitions across a little bit on the right-hand side of the track. Gets into that zone with a little bit of a correction. Last and final transition. And looking good across the line in that Pro Drift Academy S15.
Yeah, coming back from Oman, only getting 2 days of practice and throwing down a run like that. I mean, that's already getting very close to T-Con's score, 95.3 for his first run. Alan Hines coming out swinging as we have Dimitri Mitten coming to the line in that beautiful Toyota Supra. The lights light up and off he goes for his first run of qualifying. I mean, 95.3 from Alan. What a first run. Let's see what Dimitri Mitten puts down here. Good initiation, holding that angle. Good transition to that inside clip. He pushes out to outer zone 2 and now coming in through 3. Dialed in, mad angle through outer zone 3, transitioning for 4 now, pushing it right out to that track edge. holding it right on the lock stops. Looking good, Dimitri Mitten coming through and finishing out the run.
A very solid run from Dimitri and a 90.3 on the board, and we're quickly on to Sean O'Dew. Lights flash, and he should be ready to go. And now he is ready to go. And it looks like we're missing sound from Sean. An unfortunate one there, and we'll have to get that fixed for him. Smooth transition as he continues on through this course silently.
It's electric.
It could be, but no, tires are nothing coming from Sean. Almost I want to say boring, and that's just the 3.0 car, so I'm not sure what's going on with that. We'll have to get that sorted for Sean as we wait on the judges. 89.7 on the board.
89.7 is a good first run there from Sean, as we have Yasser Saad at the line. I believe that's an FDRX7. And another car with no sound on my end, but Yasser,
there,
oh no, there it is.
Very
it's
quiet.
There. It's very quiet for a rotary. He has a lot of mufflers on this thing. As he's sending it through the course here, Yasser really getting at it. A little bit of problems in the first end of the course, but coming to the second end, little bobble, but looking good is Yasser as he transitions. Man, that RX-7 looking fresh in that front end and looking good. Good run overall there from Yasser.
Yeah, good looking RX-7 as well. Good looking run. We wait on those judges. 88.7 up on the board. We're on to Chris Kozikow. Chris, a previous driver back in, if I'm right, back in 2019, and then unfortunately had to leave us for a few seasons, but he's back here for a run 1 of season 7. Looking good through outside zone 3. I'm feeling that next outside zone all the way to that track edge there. And a good looking run for Chris as he comes back after 3 seasons being away from the Virtual Drift Championship.
Which isn't bad. Looks like he dived in off that first outside zone, but the score is still good for Chris's first run back, a 90. So that'll be good to have with us. We have Alexander Jaeger ready to go for their first run, sending it down that straight. Let's see what he does in his super run. Not as deep in that first outer zone as it could be, but makes it work for the transition into outer zone 2 nicely, filling all of outer zone 3. Transitioning now into outer zone 4, trying to keep it a little bit of a bobble there though. Gets a little hung up as he gets that final transition, but nicely puts it on the wall and takes her home.
Yeah, not too shabby from him. There in that Supra looking fantastic from Alexander Jaeger. And at 89.7, we move on to Brandon Williams, now veteran driver with us. I think he joined back in 2018. Throwing that JZX in. Good once again in it as well. Been driving this car really since he joined. I believe he changed models one of the seasons, but stayed in that same chassis. Might just pay off for him here in his qualifying runs today.
Yeah, Brandon always looking good in those JZX chassis. It's always nice to see him rocking the chaser every time with an 89 for his first run. So not a bad first run out. Una Warren now at the line. Coming down in the BMW, ready to send it. Getting right to angle there, right off the line. Getting through outer zone 1. Good transition into 2. 1, 2, 3, and 4 now. Outer zone 4 now. And he's looking good. He's looking solid. Could be a little deeper in some sections of the course, but overall, great run there from Una, just making it smooth and making it work.
Yeah, really, as he's always been as well. Just a really smooth driver. Remember when he joined, he had that massive BMW. I can't remember which one it was, but he did fantastic in it. And there it is, 89 up on the board. And here's Oliver Eppinger. His first run in his new Supra. Has been in the Super chassis for a while now, and looking good here through run one. Speed is high there through that outside zone, and look at that transition, and somehow stays on the course. I really expected him to drop a tire, maybe even go into the wall, but he held on to it, and he finishes out his first run.
Oliver there with that 91.3, returning in his Supra as we move on to our final driver of Group 3, but only the first set of runs. They still got one more set to go here. Pavel Gross in that GT86. Initiates in. Looking good so far. Transitions into that inside clip and pushes out to outer zone 2. Holding some good angle in that GT86. Keeping it on those rumble strips. See what the judges say about that one as he pushes out. Ooh, drops a tire there coming into outer zone 4. Gotta make that transition work and really mess him up, but he does get it done for outer zone 5 and saves his run.
Yeah, really showing there how important it is to, do the right line through the zone before the one you're coming up into. Again, that line through the course is just super flowy, but if you get off of it just a little bit, it really messes you up for the next set of clips. And we're back around to Alan Hines coming off a 95.3, sitting second. Here he goes through the chicane. And big initiation once again from Alan Hines. Good transition. Pulling that outside zone 2 and into 3. Right along that track edge. Good. Through outside zone 4. Ooh, really close to that track edge. Judges want to see him maybe a foot or two off. But otherwise, I mean, just bang on the money there from Alan Hines in his second qualifying run of the day.
Yeah, Alan Hines taking a page from T-Con Plesky's book. Low first run and then absolutely dominates it and comes so close. 96.3 for Alan Hines' second run. That would be bumping him up into that second place position as we move on now to Dimitri Mitten, who's still coming to the line. Dimitri Mitten sitting on that 90.3, and the way the scores have been today, it's going to be a very tight one to get into that top 32. So let's see if he can improve on that 90.3. Comes out of the start gate nice and clean and starts to lay down the power of that Toyota Supra. Initiates in and looks good off of that initiation. Transitions through that inside clip and pushes out to outer zone 2. Looking way better here. Holding that massive angle as he did on his first run through outer zone 3, coming in through 4 right up against the track edge, and looking good on his transition into outer zone 5. Dimitri Mitten laying it all down for his second run.
He certainly did, trying to better that 90.3, and he might just need to do that today as we see these really high scores from these exceptional drivers. 93.7, he does just that. Puts himself into that top 8. And here we go, the silent run of Sean O'Dew. And looking good through the first outside zone. Right along that rumble. And transitions a little late there into outside zone 3. Pushes him well onto that rumble strip. Small correction there, right along that track edge too. And finishing out his second silent run of the day.
Sean really trying to improve on that 89.7, but I just don't think that run will have it in it. A couple mistakes there as we wait for the last score. An 88.7 there for Sean O'Dew's second run. As we move over to Yasir Saad, sitting on a 88.7. See if Yasir can improve his run as well. Leaving the start gate there in the beautiful rotary RX-7. putting it in, making the transition work as well, and holding that angle through the next outer zone. Really on a tear here is Yasser, trying to improve that score, making that final transition into outer zone 4, dropping some tire though through outer zone 4, but it doesn't shake him up for outer zone 5, and he gets the transition done and finishes his run.
He did, and overall a pretty good run other than dropping that tire. And look at there, he's gonna get a big score, a 95. And we're on to Chris Kozakow again. And again, taking like 2-3 seasons off and putting up a 90 for his first run. But again, returning back in his previous car. But of course, data and tires has massively changed since Chris drove. He is looking good here through his second run as well. Trying to stay on track. He does. Continues on. Last and final transition, maybe a little bit late into that zone, but he does end up along that track edge through the finish.
Well, Chris put down his second qualifying run in hopes of improving his score, and he does, only just barely to a 90.3 off of the 90 from his first run. Sitting on 89.7 is this man, Alexander Jaeger, in that Toyota Supra as he gets through the gate clean, not hitting any of those cones. Initiates into that first outer zone, maybe could have been a little deeper into it as he really whips that Supra around and try and make that inside flip. Just kind of barely gets that second hash mark as he comes through outer zone 3 right now, starting to really dial in that angle of that Supra. Pulls out of it just a little bit there for outer zone 4, but makes the transition work there for outer zone 5 and pushes right to the track edge for the finish. And Alexander there with that 92. Very good job there from Alexander here. Brandon Williams sitting on that 89. Really sending it now for his second run in this beautiful chaser of his. Getting it through outer zone 3. Could have been just a little bit deeper, almost riding the inside of the yellow line. Pushing out wide for outer zone 4. Getting close to that track edge, making that transition. Just tapping the wall there as he came through that final clipping point before the finish line, sitting on an 89. We'll see what he improves to.
Yeah, he got a little out of whack there, 88.7. So leaving outside zone 3 and into 4, or clip 5 into 6. Transition really far on the right hand side of the track, and that is a big one that the judges are looking forward to not do, as later on in battles it really chokes the chase off if they transition a little bit too early coming out of this next zone. We see Yuna flying through now, so we'll take a look at his transition a little bit on the right hand side as well. Gets that next outside zone and finishes the course strong once again from Yuna.
Yeah, Yuna really showing out there. 91.7 over his 89. That's a good final run for him. As Oliver Eppinger sitting on the 91.3. Let's see if Oliver can do anything to improve that score. Transitions in, initiates in, looking good. Could have been a little deeper in that first outer zone, but goes way too wide and goes 3 off and spins out. And that's going to be our first 0 for season 7 of the Virtual Drift Championship. Really sad to see Oliver, but sitting on that 91.
Yeah, I think he might end up being all right with that 91 that he still has on the board. But yeah, as you said, just an unfortunate one to see Oliver go down like that and go flying off that course. It's again important to get those transition timing correctly and be on the line, or you'll do exactly that. And here we go with Pavel Ross. This 8.6 looking good there through that inside clip and into that next outside zone. Along that rumble just a little bit, but this time not as much. A little bit of a waiver there coming into that fourth outside zone. Last and final transition up along that wall. Finishing out run 2 strong there from Pavel, trying to better that 84, and he might just do that. And look at there, 92.3 on the board. As that's 3 groups of qualifying down as we take a look at the board. Oh, no, it looks like I need to give those just a little bit of a refresh. But there is the current top 8 up on the board. Tikon Pileski still on that 97. And if Dion is right there in chat, that is the new highest scorer in Virtual Drift Championship history. As last season was from Tikon himself once again with a 96.7. At Masano and Alan Hines currently sitting second, 96.3, and Vladislav holding on to that third position with a 95, but Yasir's got one as well with his 95. Maxime coming out swinging 94.7, Alshetwi 94.3, Erica Zurkas, veteran driver, 93.7, and Peter 93.7 as well. So strong runs there in the current top 8 after just 3 groups of qualifying. We'll take a quick commercial break. We'll be right back. Right, we are back with some more qualifying. Group 4, 5, and 6 are now loaded onto the server, but Group 6 or Group 4 is going to be up first. The next 2 groups after them. And another strong group. I mean, really, what am I saying? All the groups are extremely strong here in the Virtual Drift Championship, as we feel best of the best here on Assetto Corsa Drifting. And it looks like Jordan is going to come up to the line first, returning back in his Viper that looks awesome. And there they are, lights on, and he's through the chicane. Entering that Viper in and looking good here so far. Ooh, he's going fast, but he stays on the course there. Really smooth into outside zone 3. Does have a little bit of a checkup to get that car to transition, but look at there on the track edge. Jordan El Nasser, oh, comes up just a little bit short on that last and final outside zone, but either way, strong run from Jordan there in the Viper.
Yeah, Jordan coming up with a way, I think probably his highest score that we've seen, a 90.7 for Jordan El Nasser. Very good first run from him. We got Kevin Stump in that Nissan Z waiting at the line. He's ready to go. And initiates in, Kevin Stump does. Maybe leaves that first outer zone just a little early as he pushes out to outer zone 2. Making the transitions work though and holding a lot of speed. He makes transition now to outer zone 4, holding that angle, little bobble there. He comes into outer zone 5 and really pushes through and finishes out the run.
Yeah, Kevin Stump looking good in the Nissan Z. And direct support with Chris Forsberg in that car is awesome to see the real drivers supporting the virtual side of things as well. And look at there, a 92.7 for Kevin Stump. So we've got Wojciech Wawrinka coming up, but I believe I heard a little something over chat. Yeah, he's not in the server, so hopefully he can get in. He is going to get a 0 for not being in the server and ready at the line to go. And we're on to Olivier turning in his S14. Ooh, and chucking that car in. He does drop a tire, upsets the car just a little bit. He continues on though, grabs that inside clip and outside zone 2. Flying through the course there in outside zone 3. Good transition all the way out to that track edge. Very smooth here from Olivier. It goes across that finish line.
Yeah, Olivier really sending it there off the beginning and just hucking that car into that first outer zone and coming up with a 91.3. So very good job there from Olivier. As we move on to Daniel. Daniel in that S15. Daniel gonna send it in now for that initiation, filling all of outer zone 1. Getting a good transition there into that inside clip and pushing out for outer zone 2. Looking nice and solid so far. Not a lot of wavering, not a lot of bobbles, nothing. He's keeping it nice and clean and locked in. We come through that outer zone 4 and one last transition to outer zone 5. Just gives the wall a little kiss and finishes out his run. Very smooth run there from Daniel. Very nice run.
Yeah, absolutely. And another rookie driver coming out swinging there. So we move on to Reese Tatterson for his first run. And again, returning just a few days ago with Alan Hines with the Pro Drift Academy out in Oman. And it looks like Reese can't see that start light for some reason. He is off and entering that Pro Drift Academy S15 in. Looking good there through the inside clip. Nice transition across as well, but he comes up a little shy of outside zone 3. Big angle there. Looking good through outside 4. Smooth transition along that wall. And finishes out run 1. Here at Silverstone.
Yep. Yeah, Reese Tatterson really laying it down. Couple deductions, though, coming for the line and impact as he comes in at an 89.7. So some stuff to improve on for his second run. And, another returning driver, another fan favorite, Augusto Ferreira. Great to see you back, buddy, for this year. Let's see what you can do here at the Silverstone Circuit. Throwing his S15 around like it's a war machine. Really holding it in there, holding that outside line as he transitions for outer zone 4. A few mistakes on that first initiation, but holding it together and looking good. Augusto Ferreira.
Absolutely, Augusto. We're waiting on those judges. 92.7 for Augusto. Ooh. And here we are, Nick Novak at the line, ready to go in his E46. A direct replica of his real car that he uses in the Formula Drift Pro Circuit. And looking good here through the first section. Filling that next outside zone up along that rumble strip. Stays off of it for this one, right along that track edge. Continuing on. A little bit tentative there on that transition, but he fills that next zone. Whoa, little hesitation there into that last and final outside zone, but nonetheless, everything else was very good from Nick Novak.
Last one's going to hurt him a little bit, but only down to an 88.3 for Nick Novak. Still a good score, and he can definitely improve that on his second run. As we got Zach O'Sullivan, another one who was really chasing down the title last year, and I'm sure he's going to want it again this year. Really throwing that super to angle and getting into that inside clip and holding the angle beautifully through outer zone 2 as he's coming through outer zone 3 with tons of speed, tons of angle, and right on line as he pushes out outer zone 4. Really just holding it down. Zach O'Sullivan really going for it for his first run. It almost looks like his final run of qualifying. Wow, Zach laying it down.
Yeah, flying through the course there, and he's been getting a lot of practice the past 2 weeks. So previously, and we have done this before. So last season, it was just a week that the drivers got with the track before each round, but we've extended that out now back to the 2 weeks. Really just gives everybody the chance to prepare more, including us, the VDC staff, and Rocky, who does all of our videos as we watch Luciano through the course here, looking good in the that is the 3.0 Corvette, just with a rotary in it. And tiny little changes. I believe he's running a little bit less weight, so a little bit smaller tire. I think he's on the 265 weight, but looking good there through his first run.
As we finish out the first runs of Group 4, I need to just sit there and say Zach O'Sullivan with a 97.3, taking the top of the leaderboard and getting that #1 position. What a run from Zach. And I know we kind of went over it, but wow, absolutely stellar run as we're back around to Jordan El Nasser with a 90.7, cutting that inside clip that is going to hurt him a little bit as he transitions into outer zone 3. Zach, wow, what a run there. Still hung up on it, but Jordan trying to improve, getting through outer zone 4 nice and clean, but maybe going a little too close to that track edge on the transition and bumping the wall there at the end. So maybe not as good as 90.7, but definitely a good little tiebreaker score.
And look at there, 85. And yeah, I can't believe I missed Zach's run.
You
there.
overlooked it completely.
I'm sorry, Zach. If you're watching, I'm sure you are. You better be watching. 97.3 on the board. Here's Kevin Stunt with his second run, coming off of 92.7. Looking good here, flying through the course in that Nissan Z. Good transition across there, very smooth. No, and it goes a little deep, bounces off that wall. And that's, halfway up or why I ended up putting that wall there is really, even if you drop a little bit of a tire, you get kind of stuck out there and just kind of fall off the course, where that wall can be a little bit of a safety and keep the battles going later on. So again, 92.7 for him, and they might have given him a 0 there. It didn't flash on our graphic there.
Well, it just updated on the timing sheet, and yes, they did give him a 0 for that second run.
Yeah, that was a little egregious off the wall there.
Very true, as sadly Wojciech didn't make it into the server in time, so we're back around to Olivier. Olivier sitting on that 91.3 in that S14, ready to do their second run, dropping a little bit of tire off that initiation, but holding it through outer zone 1 and really putting it down to get out to outer zone 2. Great transition into 3, maybe dropping a little bit of tire though off that rumble strip as he transitions down into outer zone 4, putting it right on the track edge. Olivier sending it through the final outer zone. We'll see what his score comes in and if it beats that 91.3.
I think it might. That was a pretty strong run, and the way he set into that outside zone 4, just right along that. I don't know how he didn't fall off the track there and drop a tire. Look at there, 92.7. So he does better it. We're back around to Daniel. His S15. And throwing that car in nicely. Nice snappy transition there to start things out. Throwing that car into outside zone 3. Nice and smooth here. Very little waivers from him. Again, coming off that 94.3, right along that track edge. Very solid run from Daniel.
Yeah, Daniel already on that 94.3 and now coming in again with a solid 94. So great tie-breaking score. So we got Reese Tatterson at the line sitting on an 89.7. We know he wants to improve that score after a little bit of a mishap on his first run. And let's see what he can do here. Great initiation into that outer zone 1 and a snappy transition, but taking out that inside clip, pushing all the way out outer zone 2, not quite getting into the zone for outer zone 3, but making up for it near the end of that box as he comes into outer zone 4, really pouring on the angle through outer zone 4. Just kind of going for it here as Reese Patterson. Will it be enough to improve that 89.7?
Yeah, it's going to be tough. It seemed like, if I remember, he had that same sort of mistake coming into outside zone 3 that he did on the first run. Yeah, 88. As really just seems like maybe the timing is off a little bit and ends up coming up short for outside zone 3. Ends up working out to it, but judges want to see drivers along that track edge as that zone starts. And here's Augusto throwing his S15 in. Can go through inside clip 1, coming off that 92.7 and looking strong here for run 2. Nice and smooth there into outside zone 4. Right up along that track edge. There he is, another strong run from Augusto. Always good to have him back, as we didn't really get to see much last season at all.
Yeah, no, always great to have Augusto Ferreira back here, and a 91.7 on top of his 92.7, so not quite beating it, but a great tiebreaker score if it comes down to it, which today I'm sure they will. Nick Novak with his second run now, sitting on an 88.3. Nick Novak, time to get the score back. Let's get up into those 90s as he transitions into that inside clip and pushes out to that outer zone. He's starting to look a little more dialed in, a little waver there as he pulls a little bit of the angle out, but makes that transition work, goes off the course, but hangs on to it. Ooh, dropping that tire, but doesn't go into the wall and saves it as he finishes out his second run here of qualifying.
Yeah, what a save. I stood up out of my seat there. I thought he was done for. 88.3, so matches it. Big tire off there, but keeps the run going. And we're back around to Zach O'Sullivan, current #1 qualifier, with that 97.3 that I somehow missed earlier. And he's going to fire that Supra in for a second run. Good transition across, grabs that inside clip, fills that next outside zone. Doesn't go quite as deep into that first section of outside zone 3. Nice and smooth there through that transition. Fills that zone. Last and final one here along that wall. Very clean from Zach O'Sullivan. But that's going to be tough if that's going to be more than the 97.3 that he already has.
And tough to beat indeed. 94.7 for Zach O'Sullivan's second run, but a 97.3, and now the new highest score we've ever seen in the Virtual Drift Championship. So what a show out. We got Luciano Canero sitting on that 95.3. Ready to give away his second run here in the rotary powered Corvette. Really giving a send here through that inside clip and pushing all the way out to outer zone 2, holding that angle, making a nice transition into outer zone 3 and holding it all the way through. Luciano really doing better, but dropping tires, almost 2 tires right off there at outer zone 4, but he holds it together, gives the wall a little kiss, gets out of shape there for that final outer clip. Hopefully it doesn't hurt his score too bad, but our judges sometimes can be ruthless.
Yeah, it's gonna be a tough one. The boop off the wall and then the big tire drop. Yeah, 72.3 for Luciano, but still sitting on that 95.3, currently in the top 32. But we still have got quite a bit of groups left to go. Group 5 will be loading into the server now. But it's been exciting so far.
I cannot believe the level that these drivers have come to over a year. When even just looking back at last year, we had a couple really good guys come through, but now it's like everyone is just on a brand new playing field and just so competitive with one another. And I think that just shows how tough this season's going to be. And if you really want it, you really got to put the work in.
Yeah, absolutely. It becomes a little bit more of a true drivers championship. I feel like, with locking the data sets now. Each chassis does have its own data set. It's up to the driver to pick the chassis that they want to use. But then other chassis also have multiple sets. So like you see in the public 3.0 car pack, there's actually 3 different data sets there. You've got the sort of mid-trail, mid-caster type of setup. Not necessarily a cut-knuckle type of setup, but something sort of similar. And then you have the rear rack, the typical Wisefab. But now we have the front rack V3 from Wisefab that it seems like most of the drivers are choosing to use if they are using an S chassis. And then that continues on with some of the other chassis as well. So a little bit, things to choose from. Those new tires as well being utilized. Massive improvement from last season. They're not too different, but a lot more side bite this time around with these new tires. A little bit weight difference as well that we did last season. That'll continue on into this season. But really trying to narrow down that gap a little bit between drivers being able to just change these data things, which then other drivers just end up taking those data changes anyway, and then you have those little bit of politics and yeah, I don't know. I think it works out very well, and still drivers get to express their style through the car and chassis that they want to choose and submit for the championship.
Exactly. And actually, speaking of looking at our top 32 as we are above it now, wow, the number 32 position, the score to beat to get into the top 32 today as we come into Group 5 is Reese Tatterson with an 89.7.
Yeah, already up really high, and that's just after 4 groups. We almost have a full house today, so 74 drivers ended up submitting a car for round 1. We have a little bit over 80, so I'm missing just a couple of guys there. And then, if I remember, it is 68 drivers today showed up. I guess we did lose one with Wojciech earlier. He was having some wheel issues, so unfortunate for him not to show up. But other than that, we've got a ton of drivers today.
A ton of drivers and a ton of scores still to go. I mean, at 89.7, I think that's got to be our highest top 32 yet.
It's close. I think we did have a 90 or a 91 one of the rounds last season, but I'll have to double check. Get Dion to double check, as we've got Samuel Cuddy at the line ready to go. A new driver with us here at the Virtual Drift Championship, and I've been watching him in practice. And strong driver. I don't want to put the curse on him, but
put the pressure on.
Yeah, Samuel's been looking good, even though he can't see the light, but he is off through the chicane. And filling that first outside zone as he should. Nice transition. Qualifying line there. A little bit shallow into it, and then gets a little deep. Outside zone 3, right along that track edge for 4th. He's gonna finish off the run strong there first run of the Virtual Drift Championship for Samuel Cuddy.
Well, a very strong first run indeed for Samuel Cuddy at a 93.3. Very, very strong first run. As sadly looks like, I'm not sure if Artem's here or not, as I see Steven moving away from the start gate there.
I think I might have heard that he is currently connecting to the server. So I think we're just going to wait on him to get in. Steven was ready to go at the line. And returning back in his RX-7.
Yeah, and interesting to see him back in an RX-7. You know, we kind of know him for having the RX-8 in real life, so I always expect an RX-8, and then I'm like, oh, right, RX-7.
And it looks like Steven is just going to come to the line anyway.
Yeah, so Artem getting a 0 for not being present at his first run, as we have my own fellow Canadian here, Steven Hatcher, at the line, ready to lay down his first run of qualifying. Steven Hatcher keeping the rotaries alive, initiating into that first outer zone. Could have been a little deeper into it, but makes it work into that inside clip and outer zone 2, as he's really holding on to the edge of that track there, getting a little slippery near the end out of outer zone 3, coming through 4 nice and clean, putting it right on the line and making that snap transition into 5. Steven Hatcher looking good out there.
Yeah, Steven on point there in that SimMagic RX-7, waiting on that score to come through, and a 90.7, which is, these runs are only going to bump up that that cutoff score, as we've got Abdulaziz Al Harbi, honestly one of my favorite cars in the championship here. It is a Chevy Lumina or a G8 or a Chevy SS. Love to own one of these in real life as a daily. They would be sick, and getting a little bit on the right hand side of the track there for that transition into outside zone 4. It continues on. There he goes across the line, so a good solid run to start things out for himself.
Yeah, Abdulaziz coming in with that new car and looking good too, with a 90.7, matching Steven Hatcher's points there, as we have Ryan Literal, Formula Drift driver, in his actual car as well, just transferred over into the game. Ryan Literal ready to give his first run here of qualifying, initiates in, looks good there through that first inner clip or outside zone, but goes really far to the one side of the track before making that transition, locking up the brakes a little bit there on that front wheel as he comes into outer zone 3. Now making that transition work for outer zone 4, putting it right to the track edge, holding massive angle through outer zone 4. That was right to the edge, a little waver in the wheel, but Ryan Literal coming out strong for that first run.
Yeah, absolutely. Ryan Literal, he's been practicing a lot over our off season and the past 2 weeks with this track with his teammate and spotter Zach O'Sullivan, and seems to pay off, even though I missed that score. It popped up so fast there.
93.3 for Ryan Literal.
Look at there, big score for Ryan as we continue on with Brandon Gardner here. Another driver being supported by Chris Forsberg Racing. And looking good in it here, right along that track edge. A little bit of left foot brake there through that zone. As long as they keep that momentum up and they're not overusing it, that is okay. And Brandon Gardner looking good.
Yeah, Brandon Gardner just saying, how much angle do you want? All of it? Let's throw it at the track. And it comes out in his score, the 93.3 as well, matching Ryan Literal, as we have Mustafa Amine now warming up his RX-8. Gotta make sure those tires are nice and warm. That rotary is up to temperature. Don't want to lose an apex seal halfway down the track.
Well, luckily those don't exist here in Assetto Corsa.
That is very true. I mean, I'm sure someone's made a mod somewhere, as we have Mustafa getting off the line. and transitions into outer zone 1. Real big snap to angle there as he comes into it and taking out that front inside clip a little bit there with his front bumper as he transitions into outer zone 3. Holding that angle through. Mustafa really getting at it in this RX-8. Look at that, right on the lock, stops all the way through outer zone 4, making that final transition, putting the bumper right on the wall, and making work get done in that RX-8. Great run there from Mustafa.
Yeah, very good as always from Mustafa, and just looking super comfortable in that RX-8 new chassis for him. And look at there, 93 up on the board. And we're on to William Holloway, our other Miata driver, teaming up with Kyle Mohan. Bring this car into Assetto Corsa. And looking good in it so far. Teeny tiny little wheelbase this car has. And just a ton of power. But he's putting it down nicely. Transitions that little tiny thing there. Big waver through that outside zone. Last and final transition, little tentative there, but finishing out the run strong is William Holloway.
Now, William Holloway there getting a little out of shape there out of outer zone 4, but I mean, that Miata looks so good. That body kit is just so wicked, and the turbo sticking out of the hood. You know, great car. Gets an 86 for his score, so definitely something he will improve on his second run. And so we have Austin Meeks. Austin Meeks at the line and ready to go. Always expect to see a Cadillac, but no, it's an S15. He transitions into outer zone 1, or initiates into outer zone 1, taking out that inside clip as he heads to outer zone 2. Tries to get it done for outer zone 3. Comes in a little, or comes into the zone a little late, and then fills it out completely as he moves into outer zone 4. Could have been a little deeper into outer zone 4, but makes the transition work. And a good, solid, safe first run.
Yeah, not too bad from Austin Meeks there. Again, yeah, this time not in the Cadillac, and choosing the public 3.0 S15. And doing all right in it. He does need to better that score if he wants to make it into the top 32 today, but it's going to be tough for anybody. Brandon Patrick throwing his Ferrari in. Looking good through the inside clip in that massive Ferrari. Got the speed up, but also the angle there through outside zone 3. Nice and smooth transition. Filling that next outside zone. It's making it look easy here. Look at there, across the finish line. Brandon Patrick.
Brandon Patrick really throwing it in that Ferrari 599. Really able to get it to where it needed to put it in all the right spots. And a 94 for Brandon Patrick. And looking at our top 32 list, it's already down to, I believe it was Abdulaziz there with a 90.7. So, I mean, the barrier of entry to get into the top 32 today is just shortening very quickly. Sitting on a 93.3, Samuel Cuddy, ready to send it for his second and final run here of qualifying as he gets into that first outer zone. Beautifully done. Transitions for that inside clip and pushes out to outer zone 2. Looking smooth. Samuel Cuddy's for his first runs here ever with the Virtual Drift Championship. Came out swinging on that first qualifying and even comes out swinging even harder on this second run of qualifying, putting it right up on the wall of outer zone 5 and finishes out his last run of qualifying.
And look at there, 95.3 from Samuel. Rookie driver showing out in the first round of the 7th season. And we've got Artem up to the line, so didn't make it for his first run, but here he is on the server ready to go for run 2. Pressure is on for Artem to put a score up onto the board and make it into that top 32 as he throws that super in. On the correct line here through the first section of the course. Really nicely done. Into outside zone 3. A little bit of a waiver there. Small correction. And just foot to the floor there through outside zone 4. A little bit tentative on that last and final transition, but he finishes it out strong, and we'll wait on the judges.
Yeah, good run there from Artem, coming in with a 91.3, so hopefully that's enough to keep him in that top 32. Steven Hatcher sitting on a 90.7, and as I've already seen, a 90.7 is the danger area. He needs to improve this score. Steven Hatcher Initiates in, lighting up the tires on that RX-7 as he comes through outer zone 1. Makes that snappy transition into outer zone 2. Takes away a bit of the angle there, but look at that, that transition into outer zone 3. Just swung it through and made it stick as he pushes all the way out now for outer zone 4 and holds it around. One last transition to go through outer zone 5. Steven Hatcher really trying to improve on that 90.7.
Yeah, throwing it all out there in that RX-7. And a 92.7, so grabs a couple of extra points. And we'll see if that holds for the top 32. Again, it's going to be tough as we see those scores just creep on up as these drivers are throwing down here in the first round. Here at Silverstone. Good initiation from Abdulaziz here. Grabs that inside clip. Maybe a little deeper there as well as there for outside zone 2 and 3. Hangs on to it maybe a little bit too long. Continues on. And there he goes across that line. So that one's going to be tough there to beat that 90.7. Just coming up a little short here and there, maybe a little tentative through the course.
Definitely sitting there with an 88 on his second run, so sitting on a 93.3 and into the top 32, but maybe wanting to improve. Ryan Literal, former D Pro driver, and got his car into this game, and he's been practicing really hard, and it's showing immensely as we see him come through outer zone 3 here, really nicely angled up on those lock stops. No wavering that front end, no dropping tires through outer zone 4, and holding it beautifully, just giving the wall a little kiss there with outer zone 5. Wow, Ryan Literal coming out swinging on that second run.
Yeah, he ain't playing no games. And look at there, 94.7 from Ryan Literal. Brandon Gardner at the line, ready to go. 93.3 for his first score. Any better here. Throws that car in. On to a good line there. Could have been a little deeper in 3, but sets into 4 nicely here. And a little bit of left foot break through that zone. And right along that wall to finish things out for run 2.
Run 2 there for Brandon Gardner, coming in with a 94. So improving his score there, moving him up a little bit farther, keeping him safe. We have Mustafa Amine sitting on that 93, ready to see if he can improve and or match it. Mustafa lighting those tires up right out of the box, keeping them lit up all the way down that straight. Initiates beautifully into the first clip, and getting through the course clean so far, coming through outer zone 3, making that transition work and happen. He's just on the lock stop. Look at that angle coming through 4, really holding it, and makes that smooth transition, giving the wall just a little rub there as he comes through and finishes out his last run of qualifying.
Yeah, another solid run from Mustafa. 93 and a 90.3, so a little bit lower, but possibly a good tiebreaker for later on. As we've got William Holloway through the chicane there. We unfortunately have Brandon down there in the graphic, but this is William Holloway in his Miata. And partnering with Kyle Mohan and KMR. Looking very comfortable this time around in this run too. Certainly needs to better that 86 to make it on in. And I shouldn't have said anything. Right off the wall. That is going to be an unfortunate 0 for William Holloway. Man.
Oh, he looked like he had it all together and everything was coming good. And sadly, the wall at clip 5 just took the poor Miata out. That'll be a 0 for William Holloway's second run, and we're not going to say it was commentator's curse, but I mean,
it's your fault.
Okay, I'll take the blame on that one. As we have Austin Meeks here going for his second run, sending it into that first inside clip, grabbing that it's outside zone, getting that inside clip beautifully, grabbing all of outer zone 2, looking at 3 now, looking beautiful into outer zone 4. Austin Meeks dropping a little bit of tire there, but holding a good line and angle. Could have been a little deeper there, kind of leaving outer zone 5 at the end. But the only mistake out of what would have been a really nice run.
Absolutely. Austin looking good there for run 2. Much more settled in a 91.3. So currently 31st in qualifying. It's going to be a tough one to hang on to. Here's Brandon Patrick for run 2, coming off of 94 for run 1. Just looking super comfortable in this big Ferrari. Again, partnering directly with Triple F Performance, and this Ferrari in game. And look at there, I didn't want to say too much, but Brandon looking good for run 2. Again, coming off the 94. You see him celebrate a little bit after the run there. Again, just super comfortable from him. And look at 96 on the board for Brandon Patrick.
Brandon Patrick really bringing it home on that final run of Group 5 as Group 6 will start to load in now. But yeah, what a crazy group this was. I mean, a little few upsets, but overall, everyone just coming out absolutely swinging. This is what I mean. This year, the Virtual Drift Championship, do not miss around. If you're not already following us on social media, make sure to go follow us on Instagram, Facebook. I was about to say Twitter, but I don't think we have a Twitter yet.
What's that?
Exactly. So we do not have that one yet, but keep an eye out, and obviously like and subscribe here on YouTube to keep up with all the action that we'll be bringing you here from the Virtual Drift Championship in this wonderful season 7 that we have all prepared for everybody.
Absolutely. And again, super important for the drivers to show up to each and every single round this time too, because again, not just 8 rounds, is 6 rounds this time around. And I feel like if you miss a round, you might be out of the championship altogether.
Yeah, with this condensed season, it means less room for error, and you can only make sure you make every round. I mean, one round could be the difference between 90 points in the championship and 0 points.
Yeah, big time. And a lot of, we'll just say, exciting tracks this season that we have planned. And it may just work out that every single round will be a new layout or track. And really, all with the help of Jonathan Simpson from Joka Design. He put together all these new track objects. He's helped us with the tracks as well, prettying them up or even making them. So creator of Orlando, New Jersey, the Gambler as well. If you have DeSoto on Assetto Corsa, that is actually Jonathan's original creation, I believe, all the way back on R Factor, that somebody random converted it, but Jonathan's been around for a while, and he helps us out and does amazing things for us and the community as well.
As these drivers just get their final practice runs in here, a couple more. Yeah, it's going to be a great season. Nope, he's still doing a practice run. It's like, is this our first driver?
No, still getting a couple of bit of practice runs. I think I hear Chris over in the Discord now calling for last call of those drivers. Unless, yeah, we've got Cages at the line ready to go. And his BMW. Very interesting that people are having trouble seeing the light, as it doesn't require extensions. It's just a normal AC light there, but he is off and looking pretty good so far here through the first section of the course. Big transition and flying into outside zone 3. Good transition across. Ooh, almost a little deep. Has to make a little correction there in that angle to stay on track. Last and final one, burying that bumper in the wall. And a good thing to start out with.
Yeah, Cage's come out swinging. Great to see. Must have gotten a lot of practice in over the offseason, and a 90.3 for Cage's first run. So absolutely awesome. We are, if you're following along on the qualifying sheet, we are going to skip over Jake Wise. He is not here. And we move over to Kale Fonseca. Kale in that beautiful S15 of his. A nice initiation there into outer zone 1, just touching the grass there as he comes through that inside clip, making it through outer zone 2, transitioning into outer zone 3, holding that massive angle through all of 3 there, just really trying to get it done as he comes into outer zone 4, holding a good line there as he transitions to 5 now, just tapping the wall there on the exit and making it work. Kale Fonseca, fast run from him.
And look at their big score as well, 93.3 from those judges. We move on to Daniel Mora. Daniel this time in an E30. Representing the Portugal Drift Series. And looking good here in that E30. Big angle through outside zone 3. Continues on. A little bit of left foot brake there. Last and final transition into that wall. And a good solid run there from Daniel.
Yeah, Daniel Mora trying to get the work done in that E30. A couple mistakes here and there, but nothing he can't fix up on his second run, which he'll need to if he wants to see the top 32, and 89.7 for Daniel Mora. We move on now to Connor Shanahan in the GT86. Good to see Connor Shanahan back here in the Virtual Drift Championship. Good initiation into that first outer zone. Really making good work of that inside clip, pushing all the way out to outer zone 2. No mistakes so far. Nice and clean through outer zone 3, holding that angle and really pushing that GT86, making it look easy as he holds that angle all the way through, but a big snap to correction. And now I have done it, and he straightens out near the end.
Unfortunate to see there from Connor. It was looking so well. But he's got another run later on, and very little limited practice that Connor got. Submitting that car just a little late to us. But here's Vicaris. 8-6 this time around and looking good in it so far. He throws that car into outside zone 3. Keeping that speed a little tentative as I said that through the transition there into outside zone 4. That's the final one there. Boop off the wall. Big correction. So some deductions.
And an 85.7 for Vicaris' first run there as we move over to Shoma Takaya in that 180SX or S13. S13 with a 180 front end as he initiates into that first outside zone. Ooh, taking out the inside clip though as he goes through outer zone 2. He's trying to carry a lot of speed though. He is flying through those first 3-4 clips as he comes into outer zone 4, trying to hold on to the car, keep it settled. One more transition to go along the wall of outer zone 5. Not a bad first run from Shoma.
No, not at all. Looking good in that S chassis. And a 90.7. So that's a little short for top 32. It's crazy to even say that, but scores are super high today. And here's Jonathan Simpson again, that Jelka design. One of his awesome creations here with this 180SX, and looking good here into that outside zone 3. Filling that next outside zone. Massaging that car into that wall, and look at there across that track edge and finishing out his first run of the season.
Yeah, Jonathan Simpson there doing pretty good on his first run of qualifying. His scores finally come in, a 93. And as you were saying, that last I checked was a 91.7 to get into the top 32. So it is getting closer and closer with only one group remaining after this one. As we have Connor Christensen in his Toyota Supra. sending it into that first outer zone. These Supras have been pretty quick around here. He's holding some good angle as he transitions into outer zone 3, holding it around nicely, not wavering or getting mismatched or out of shape as he comes through outer zone 4, maybe leaving just a tad early, but makes the transition for outer zone 5. Again, another, great run there from Connor Christensen.
Yeah, not bad at all. And a 91.7. So currently it is still a 91.3 with Christian Petrov. But just one more score will put it into the 91.7s. And here's Dwayne Ebanks. His big R35 GTR. Looking good through the run so far. Smooth transitions throughout here. Holding on to the angle. Very little corrections. Ebanks looking good there through his first run in that big R35.
Yeah, Ebanks coming out swinging in that R35, and it's still nice to see R35s in the championship with a 94.7. So very, very good job from that first run as we move back up to the top of the list with Cages Alunas with that 90.3. Let's see if he can get up into the top 32. With his second run of qualifying as we wait for the lights to go. Just gonna send it in, getting through that first outer zone, transitions into that inner clip, all the way out wide, just riding that rumble strip around through outer zone 2, kicking up a bit of dirt as he transitions into 3, making it work though. Whoa, going too deep though into 4, and hits that wall and spins him out, and sadly ends his second run of qualifying, and we will not be seeing Cages into the top 32.
Yeah, that's unfortunately gonna end his day, but still a good showing there. All of these drivers throughout qualifying, whether they make it into the top 32 or not, have been doing a fantastic job showing that super high level of skill here in the Virtual Drift Championship. Here's Fonseca for run 2 coming off the 93.3, so he's safe so far into the top 32, but we've still got another group left to go. Smooth transition here, right along that track edge. And sets into the wall nicely, drives off of it just a little bit there in that last outside zone, but get another solid score there as he celebrates a little bit after the line.
I don't blame the drivers having a little celebration after the stressful 2 runs that they have to do. 92.7 for KO Fonseca. So we have Daniel Mora now at the line in that E30 BMW. He's sitting on an 89.7, so he's going to need to improve to try and get into the top 32 today. Initiates into outer zone 1, could have been a little deeper there, but makes the transition work for the inside clip, pushing all the way out to outer zone 2 and making it work through 3, holding that angle almost right on the lock stops. He comes into outer zone 4, a little maybe bit of a waver, but holds it together into outer zone 5 and pushes all the way out to that exit. Way better run there from Daniel Mora. And a way better run indeed with a 91.3. Not enough to get into that top 32, but does improve his score big time. Sitting on a 0 now, Connor Shanahan had an amazing first run, but sadly had it end early. Let's hope he can hold it together on this second run, making quick work of the first 3 clips as he comes into outer zone 3, and again holding that angle, just locked in and dialed in that GT86, holding it all the way through into this final transition, right along the edge this time, and holds it and makes it through. What a beautiful run from Connor Shanahan, and that has got to get him up there and into that top 32.
Yeah, with the pressure on as well, coming off that 0. Very solid run. Look at there at 93.3 for Connor Shanahan. We're on to Vicaris again in his GT86. Through the chicane. Again, coming off the 85.7, so really needs to better it, but he leaves that first outside zone very early. Gets back onto the correct line here into outside zone 3. Smooth transition, but is again on the right-hand side of the track, so he comes into that zone a little bit late, and then you see there washing out wide afterwards. There he goes across that finish line.
Yeah, Vaqueros pulling out just a little bit there near the finish. Vaqueros coming in with an 86.3 for his second run. We move over back to Shoma Takaya, sitting on a 90.7, so another driver that needs to improve. Initiates in, looking good to that first outside zone, transitioning to that inside clip, just grazing it with the front bumper, pushing all the way out to outer zone 2 and filling that zone, maybe dropping a little bit of tire off that rumble strip through outer zone 3, but holding his speed big time through all of these clipping points and zones, and through the final zone he comes to finish it out. That was a stellar run there from Shoma.
And the score shows 92.7 up onto the board for Shoma Takaya. And here's Jonathan Simpson again, coming off the 93. There he goes, entering in, lacking just a little bit of angle there through that first section. Well, he's there. He's starting to pour it on. Smooth transition into it. And that rear seems maybe a little bouncy for Jonathan there in this 180. But he'll continue on. It's a smooth transition to finish things out. And another solid run for Jonathan Simpson.
Yeah, Jonathan Simpson really showing out. 91.3. So not quite beating that 93 that he already has, but a very close score. As now Connor Christensen sitting on that 91.7. Another driver that might have to improve here to get up into that top 32. Not sure what the current cutoff is, as it's probably gone up, as we see Connor Christensen really throwing that Supra through the first two clips coming into outer zone 3 now, really holding it all the way through outer zone 3 and getting it ready and set up for outer zone 4, holding that angle in, and he looks dialed as he comes into outer zone 5, really pushes through to the end, trying to improve that score on his final run of qualifying.
Yeah, good looking Supra, good looking run, and 91.7, and there it is, 93.3, so he betters it just a little bit there, getting maybe a little bit safer into that top 32, but again, we've got another group left to go. Kerwayne Eubanks run 2 here in that R35, and good initiation. Picks up that inside clip. Very smooth line so far, really throwing that car into outside zone 3, drives away from that rumble strip as he should, filling that next outside zone. And there it is, doing all the right things there.
Wow.
So again, that's going to do it for Group 6. We've only got one more group of qualifying coming up for the first round of Season 7 of the Virtual Drift Championship. So again, we'll take just one more quick break, and we'll be right back with the rest of qualifying. Right, and we are back. Our last and final group loaded in for qualifying of round 1 of season 7 of the Virtual Drift Championship. Big shout out to our sponsors. SimMagic joining us as our new title sponsor. And just over the break there, I got word of the first, second, and third place prizes from SimMagic. An Alpha Mini wheelbase with the GT1R wheel will go to first place. There are new pedals set to be released later this year, and the shifter of choice between the Q1 or the DS8X. And I must say, I have the DS8X, and that thing is sick. It is, if you haven't seen it already, it is both sequential and H pattern, and in both ways, you know, that thing just shines. I've had previous shifters before that were combos. I think most of us have. We've been sim racing for a while, and it's always one or the other. You know, either the H pattern feels good or the sequential, but hardly ever both. But this thing feels fantastic in both ways, and you can just flip it with a switch, so no you know, changing that top plate from sequential to H pattern is literally just a flip of a switch on the side, and you're in either one ready to go. And it looks like we have our first driver for the last and final group up at the line. Victor Alves returning to us. And here we go, Victor off through the chicane. And entering that S15 in, filling that first zone, ended up middle track there, grabs that inside clip, maybe a little bit too inside, but not by much. He sets into outside zone 3 nicely, a little bit too deep there as he leaves it, but hangs on to it. Continues on, little clutch kick there to get that car moving forward into that last outside zone. A solid run from Victor Alves.
Yeah, Victor Alves coming out swinging. Let's see what the score is for his first run. A 91.7 for his first run. There's not many things to improve on, but a little bit to get into the top 32. I believe it's at 92 now to get into the top 32. Darius Ostreka at the line and ready to go for qualifying as we're into our last group of qualifying before battles later today. Initiating in is Darius, looking good in that S15, coming through outer zone 1, through inside clip 1, outer zone 2, making his way through outer zone 3, holding that angle, just gently touching that rumble strip as he transitions to outer zone 4, making it work, holding the angle down. Darius Ostreka really going for it here and finishing out his run.
Yeah, Darius looking strong as always there. His first run of qualifying for the season, and a 93.7 as we see that cutoff point get higher and higher with these drivers. Robert on the line and through the chicane, ready to go. Robert, a very strong driver as well. And looking good there through initiation. Smooth along that inside clip, filling that nice outside zone there. Continuing on. Foot to the floor, a little bit quiet there from his engine sound, but we can certainly hear he is committed to that throttle. Last and final transition. There it is across the finish line.
Yeah, very good job by Robert Kavinsky there. I mean, that's going to be a high score. That was a beautiful run, and a 96.3. I knew that run was great when I looked at it, but a 96.3, that is well deserved. Pontus Jakobsen sitting at the line in an R35. A new car to him for this year, and initiates in. Looking good through outer zone 1. Maybe could have been a little deeper. Getting that angle in through the inside clip and out to outer zone 2. Making it work through outer zone 3. A little correction on the wheel. It sets up for the transition beautifully. Gets through outer zone 4. Pontus is going to put it through. And all through outer zone 5 and out to the line.
Yeah, good run from Pontus there. Just sacrificing a little bit of angle here and there, and that might show there on the score, a 90 up on the board. So falling a little short of that top 32 currently, but he's got another run. And here's Logan Daniels returning in his S15. Massive Kazama kit. Looking good through the course here. New livery for him. filling that outside zone nicely, but his transition is a little bit on the right-hand side of the track. Judges want him to come back towards the middle, almost to the left-hand side before making that transition, but other than that, looking good. Resets super fast there across that line.
Line, reset button. So a 90.3 there for Logan Daniels for his first run, as we got Dan Dirk sitting in the BMW at the line ready to go. Again, this is our final group of qualifying, group number 7 here. We're almost done with the first set of runs before we go into the final runs of the day. Dan Dirk's getting off the line, igniting those tires and initiating into outer zone 1, looking good. Grabbing that inside clip, holding that angle through outer zone 2, makes the transition, maybe comes off there, gets out of the zone, tries to work his way back in it, but has to transition for outer zone 4 now, holding the ankle a little bit better through this one as he makes the final transition into 5. Again, could be a little deeper into each of those outer zones, but he does a safe run and gets points on the board.
Yeah, not too shabby from Dan Dirks there, but it might fall a little short of that 32. It's really tough. Yeah, 91 up on the board, so a strong run, but just falling a little short there. And something I guess I didn't mention earlier is with these outside zones, they are just a little bit skinnier than before. So in order to really get into that zone and fill it, you really need to be at that track edge. As we see Anton continue on with the course here. Very nice through that zone, but getting really far left there as you see him way outside that typical line that all these other drivers are using. And there he goes across that finish line.
Yeah, Anton there needs to brush up a couple things, but a good run overall there. As we come to our final driver of Group 7 for the first set of runs, Roman Konastrenko, rocking an R33 this year. That's nice to see. He initiates in. Huge snap to initiation there through outer zone 1 in that R33. Beautiful through that inside clip. Looking good so far. Really holding it on the track edge there for outside zone 3 as he transitions into 4. What an initiation that was from Roma. He comes into outer zone 5, putting the bumper just nicely on the wall and takes her home to the finish.
Yeah, good run there from, I believe, 3-time champion out in Belarus now, Roma Kondratenko. We even got the courtesy to commentate one of their events where I believe he won both of them.
He did.
Yeah, that we were able to commentate for him. It was a blast. And here's Victor Alves for his second run, coming off a 91.7. Definitely wants to better that score, needs to. Coming up a little short of outside zone 4, has to make a correction, almost dropping a tire on that inside there, but fills that last and final outside zone.
So he does get a better score. I don't know if it's enough to get into the top 32 and 91 points. Oh, he matched his score, 91.7. My bad. Yes, 91.7 there for his second score. So we have Darius Ostreka leaving the line now. Sitting on a 93.7, so I believe he is safe at the moment, but doesn't hurt to improve or get a good tiebreaker score just in case he comes through that inside clip and out to outer zone 2. He is looking good out there so far, riding that rumble strip all the way around outer zone 3 though. He makes transition work to get into outer zone 4, puts it right on the track edge, holding tons of angle as he transitions into outer zone 5 and finishes out his final run of qualifying very nicely.
Yeah, Darius really showing how fast this course can really be as he was cooking through it. And 90.7, so still safe so far. As we move on to Robert in his second run, 96.3. Currently into the top 32 and sitting nicely in that third position. As he continues on, just flying through the course here once again. Fully committed to that throttle. There's 0 waivers from the angle. Driving that car with his foot. Ooh, and just a boom off the wall there. But he'll finish it out and we'll see him into the top 32 later.
Yeah, Robert there with that slight mistake right at the end, hurting his score, 87.7 from his 96.3 on his first run, as you have Pontus Jakobsen in the R35, ready for his second run, sitting on a 90, needs to better it by at least 3 points, initiates in, getting through outer zone 1, trying to get that angle dialed in on that R35 as he comes through outer zone 2, makes it into outer zone 3, really laying on the angle, has to pull out of it and then re-add it though. As he came out of that exit, comes through outer zone 4 now, holding on as best he can. Outer zone 5, really pushing his hardest, and that'll finish out his runs of qualifying.
We wait on those scores, and it looks like it switched quickly. Ooh. Nope, and a 90.3. So falling just short of that top 32. We move on to Logan Daniels entering his S15 and needs to better his score if he wants to make it into the top 32. It's crunch time now as he makes that transition a little bit on the right hand side of the track, not too much though. Grabs that outside zone. Ooh, and then into the wall, straightens up, and another very fast reset, but you know, I can't blame him there. I probably would be a bit frustrated too, bouncing off the wall there to finish out his second run of the day, and that is going to be an unfortunate 0 up onto the board for Logan Daniels, but we can't wait to see him throughout the rest of the season.
Yeah, definitely. We'll see him back for round 2, but you know, zeros are unfortunate. But Dan Dirks here, sitting on a 91, has the chance to make it in. He's got to go hard and push the car even harder as he comes through outer zone 2 into outer zone 3. Lots of angle into outer zone 3. Pulls out of it just a little bit as he makes that transition into outer zone 4. Little corrections here and there on that wheel. Will this run be enough? Not as deep into outer zone 5, maybe playing it just a little safe so he doesn't leave it. We'll see if that's enough to improve or not. And sadly, it's not. An 87.7 for Dan Dirks.
Fallen just a little bit shy. Very unfortunate to see. Dan's such a nice guy, fun to be around, and a good driver as well, as we see those strong scores again just falling a little bit short. And here's Anton continuing on with his second run, coming off an 84. He needs to certainly better that, as he's way behind there on qualifying today in the top 32, but looking good here in run 2. Can he stay off the wall? He does. Crosses that finish line.
Scores come in for Anton, and 91, so definitely betters that 84, but not enough quite to get into the top 32. Roman Kotostrenko now sitting on that 93.7, initiates in, maybe not as deep into that first outer zone as the judges would like to see, but makes it work through the inside clip and outer zone 2, really making short work of outer zone 3. Roman really killing it on this run, hoping to improve, dropping just a little bit of tire, kicking up some dust as he transitions into outer zone 5 and really makes it work there.
And not too bad of a way to finish out qualifying for the first round here at the Virtual Drift Championship Season 7. What a round of qualifying, and look at the cut-off score. Pavel Gross, which we'll wait on the judges to sort that sheet between the tiebreakers there, as the sheet gets maybe a little confused about those tiebreaker scores, the lower scores. But as of right now, Pavel Gross 92.3. Regardless, that 92.3 is going to be that cutoff score. But man, what a round of qualifying.
Yeah, this has been insane. This is, you know, the level of quality of, you know, round 8 of last year. For all these guys are kind of dialed in, they got the cars sorted, and it seems like everyone just has everything done right off the hop for round 1. So that means it's only going to get even better as the rounds continue.
Absolutely. And again, the shout out to the drivers. You know, I know it's disappointing and whatnot to not make it into the top 32 battles, but each and every one of all of these drivers really showed out today, and really showed off their skill here on the simulator Assetto Corsa, and through this really fast, sort of seems easy, but it is technical layout. And it's only going to be more difficult once we get into battles. and start putting these drivers up against each other. It is you really got to stay on top of things in that chase position. If you fall off just a little bit, that lead is going to run away from you, and you really have to cut a lot of angle, cut a lot of line to really reel them back in, and stay with them. Be careful on your transitions. Drop back away from them and let that lead transition, and then tuck back in. All the normal things, but you're doing it at a much higher rate of speed. Again, 90 miles an hour through that power alley section, going sideways, foot to the floor. So just a tiny little variation in line, being a little bit on that outside, can really make or break your run. But it's also going to be that much more important for the lead to get it right out front, because like we alluded to earlier, leaving that first outside zone and ended up on the left-hand side of the track is going to be a big no-no out there in the lead, as well as leaving outside zone 3 and into 4. You don't want to see that lead over on to the right-hand side. Basically, that pocket needs to be opened up by that lead driver driving a little bit to the left of the track or the middle of the track, and then making their transition there, rather than making a quick one on the right-hand side of the track and leaving the chase nowhere to go but further on the outside. And then next thing they're into the wall. Well, as we wait on the bracket to get generated, we'll take one more look at that line map so you can see what we're referring to here. Again, from clip 1 to clip 2, very important to be in the middle of that track. Don't want to see drivers leaving clip 1 early, ending up on the left-hand side of the track, which is our right, looking at this picture, so that rumble strip there. Hold on to that inside clip, and then again from clip 4 to 5, outside zone 3 to 4, taking that midline through there, and again opening up that pocket for the chase driver, as well as staying off the inside in between clip 5 and 6. So again, somewhat easy course to get through. And fill some zones and grab some clips, but to really nail it, really get it right, you got to be on it. And these drivers were certainly doing that today.
Yeah, these drivers brought everything in their power today, and the battles are going to be just as intense. So for all you guys watching us right now, asking when a battle's going to be, they're going to be after this stream, after we shut it down. We're all going to take a quick break, and then we'll be back later on this afternoon for battles. And definitely keep the notifications on, hit the little bell notification so you know the second we go live. Follow us on all the socials, so that way you never miss a second of the action.
Absolutely. Again, just waiting on that bracket to get sorted. We've got I don't want to say a little bit of a surprise, but I think it's a big improvement to the stream. We've got a bracket created, and big shout out to all the guys in the background of the stream. It is certainly not just me. Certainly not just me and Tanner. We've got Dion in the background, Ali Yusuf in the background, and Carl, all really sort of controlling some of these graphics, as well as this bracket that we're going to see here in a second. Looks like it might be ready. And there it is. As you see, Zach O'Sullivan qualifying first. That's going to put him in that #1 seed. And just crazy battles coming up later today. Again, we'll take an hour break. It's right at the top of the hour now. So we'll be back at 3 p.m. Eastern. Again, just 1 hour away. We'll post the bracket up onto our socials for everybody to see. And again, big shout out to all the guys in the background, as well as our sponsors. Again, now joining us for our title sponsor, Sim Magic, powered by Next Level Racing, Rip Royal, Tire Stacks, Joka Design, and again, Ali Yusuf for putting this, basically the back end of this graphic, really making it work. and this bracket coming together. It's all interactive, so we'll see names move forward later on today during the top 32. But we're excited to have everybody back today. Thank you for joining in. Hit around the 500-600 of you joining us today, and greatly appreciated. So again, we'll shut this stream down, and we'll see everybody back in just 1 hour.